Let's start the recording. Okay, first write down what does the macro do for you. And this file is available online if you need it, but I'll give it to you as well on Blackboard. Okay, so write down the macro will automate your everyday task. The macro will automate your everyday task in Excel. So for example, say you're working for a financial institution and you get the data every month. So this is January, February, March, April, May. And your job is to do the same thing to each one of the months. So what will macro do is, all you have to do is do it once and tell macro to do it for all of the other months. Does that make sense? The use of macro. You just have to do it once and just tell Excel to do it for all of the others. But before we do macro, you need to know how to install the macros. So next point, how to install macros. Okay, go to File on the top. Okay, go to Options, File Options. Then in here, go to Customize Ribbon. Look here, Customize Ribbon. And in this side, click on the Developer tool. We are learning how to install macro first. File Options, Customize Ribbon. And click on the Developer tool and do OK. Once you do OK on the top, you'll be able to see the Developer tool. And this is where all the macros reside. Very important topic, macros. Any questions so far on how to install macros? Okay, now the next place is Visual Basic. So if you click on it, so write down the topic is Visual Basic. And Visual Basic is the place where you write your code. So this is where coding in Excel comes. So Visual Basic is the place where you write your code. It's also called VBA, Visual Basic Application. So if the question in an interview is what is VBA, it's part of the macros where you write the code. To go back to Excel, you click on this button here. Come back to Excel. Any questions? Okay, now say the task is you want to reformat this file, and whatever you do here, you want to do it for every month. So before you start the process, you just do it once and tell Excel to record it. So record your steps. So you click on record macro. Give a name of the macro. So say I want to format files, and give a description. Say this will format monthly files. Yeah, give a name and description of what it's going to do, the macro. And for store macro in, always do this macro so that it saves in your workbook. And do OK. Now you see that the recording has started. If you click on stop recording, your steps will not be recorded. So now, for example, say instruction 1 is when you receive the file, you need to select the top column or the top row, give it a different color, say blue, and give all borders. You're formatting the file to make it look better. Say step number 2 is you have to change the font. So select the whole thing and say you want to make the font to Arial. Yeah? So these are the normal tasks that you have to do all the time when you receive the file. Say insert a new column somewhere. Let's insert it here and call it, say the name of your company should come here. Say company name. Let's call it which company. And you want the whole thing. So company name is introduced. Okay, tell me something else that you can do. Okay, for wherever there is money, you need to give the dollar symbol. So this is the normal formatting you need to do. Okay, so give different currency to all the money columns. This one as well. Okay, say in this column, you want to do conditional formatting and give a different color to the text that contains the word fully paid. So these are the basic steps you always have to do when you receive the file. So now Excel has recorded all your steps. So what you do is you go to developer and say stop the recording. One more thing, before you do it for the next sheets, you need to save the file again as a different name. So now save the file as, and now the extension of the file should be Excel macro enabled workbook. So just make a note, you have to resave the file and save it as Excel macro enabled workbook. So earlier the extension was .xlsx. When you're just doing basic Excel, when you're doing macro, the extension will become .xlsm. Make a note, M comes to the end. So the extension is now .xlsm. Only then your macros will work. Save. Does that make sense so far? Okay, now what you want to do is, so you want to apply the same thing to all of them. Before that, let's see what happened to your macro. So click on the macros tab. So all the macros that you make will be saved here. You can make a lot of macros. Not just one, but you can do a lot of other things and save it as another macro. And if you click on edit, everything that you did has become a code now. So this is automatically generating the code for you. It's pretty amazing. You don't have to write the code anymore.
But if you do it in reverse, so let's say if you start off with a code,
yeah.
Do you then get that in Excel?
Then you don't do, yeah. Then you go to Excel and save. Then you don't need to do recording. Okay. If you just want to type the code, you don't have to record it. So it's either you type the code or you record it. But it's way easier to just record it and it types the code for you, unless you want to practice coding. Okay, now go back to Excel and see if the same thing happens in the next tab. So what you do is you go to macros and say run the macro on this page now. So run the macro, and just like that, it did it for February. Similarly for March, all you have to do is go to macros and run the macro. So this will save you a lot of time. If you have to do the same work over and over again, macros is the most important thing. Similarly, do it for April. And May. This is just the basics of macro, but you can do a lot of stuff with macros. So we won't go that deep. As long as you know the basics for the interview internship, that should be enough.
So it just does it also, like, do the table, or you have to make the table yourself?
Which table?
Like how it was before.
How it was before?
Yeah.
So you mean go back?
Yeah.
You can't go back to the original.
I mean, what's that table like?
The file, you mean?
Yeah.
The file you will get every month when you're working. The data is like downloaded from the internet or the database. And then you have to do the formatting on that. Any other questions on the last small topic, macro? Okay, if not, I'll just put this on Blackboard and see if you can practice. Stop the